So you guys had a really interesting conversation about how you are supporting home language and how you're planning for that. So it was really cool to hear like the different approaches based on what you do in your classrooms, right? So Maritza has the 50-50 balanced language approach where she does 3 days in Spanish and 2 days in English. And you talked about front loading, right? Or previewing concepts in English because that's their home language for the children. So it's interesting that you're having to front load and review and preview in English and then supporting them with the Spanish language development on the other days. And you talked a lot about how you have to try different things and you had to figure it out, right? So there isn't one perfect way where you learn like, oh, we're gonna language model like this. This is how we're gonna do it.
Oh yeah.
You had to try like different things and figure out what was the best way to support the children. And I'm sure, like you said, it's evolved, right? So I'm sure it changes with
Yeah.
every group of children. Yeah, so it probably
Yes.
with every group of children. I know that Mai and Kristen were sharing how, like in your classrooms, it's not really a set like balanced language approach like in the dual language classroom, but it's really based on the current group of children that you have. So you've had like Hmong represented in Lao and Spanish, and Mai was saying, we don't have a teacher that speaks Spanish. We all speak English, or so you rely on other staff members there. So really a lot of teamwork and a lot of just relying on the resources that you have. So you talked about using the families, right? Kristen was talking about how maybe sometimes with like lower incidence languages like Punjabi, you would rely on the families because you might not have a staff member who speaks that language. And so you rely on the family a lot to support that culture and language, talking about learning keywords in their language to support them. Sometimes families try to teach us the whole language, right? That shows how much like they get excited
Yeah,
and
yeah.
shows that connection of like, we care, we're here for you, we want to support your language and your culture. So learning those key phrases, even if we don't speak their language, we don't have to speak the language, but making sure that we're language models in whatever language we are strongest in. So I like how Kristen is like, I'm the proper language model for English because I can do that really well. And then Miss Mai, her para, is the model for English. I mean, for Spanish, for Hmong, not Spanish.
One of
Spanish
them.
relies on other
Right.
staff at her center. So relying on people to translate and work as a team. And then Mai talked about sending books home in the language and sending the songs home, right? So they can read it to their child. So it's like you're really utilizing all the resources you have. And with low incidence languages, it might be that we have to be a little bit more creative, right? We might not have a staff member, but definitely relying on the families. That's one great use of that family language and interests interview because it gets you in. I love how Kristen's like, we adopted him as our family, like our grandparent, because that just shows how much you have that connection with that family and really relying on working as a team with staff, but also with families to make sure that they know, how important it is. Miss Eva has a unique perspective thinking about the infants, right? So it's really based on the children and parents' preference, and I love how you shared that even though the children don't speak that language, they start to pick it up because they're exposed to it. So they hear you reading and singing songs in the languages, and they're exposed to it, and they start using those words too. And so the families are like, "Wait, my child's speaking Spanish? That's not their own language." But so supporting home language for the children, it really benefits all of the children. It sounds like you guys have really had a lot of great experiences and you guys are doing some really great things. So thank you for sharing that.